spread love. It's the Brooklyn way, no shame. VSG journey, let me share my truth. With wisdom and grace, I'm bringing the proof. Beauty, health, got that R in view. Unbox review, showing what's new. Shopping hauls, travel, and insights to share.
Well, hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Brooklyn Stace, and today I'm coming back with another cooking video. So what I'm going to be making today is chicken shawarma. How many of you love shawarma like I do? Put that in the chat. Let me know if you make it, if you try it. If you love it, if you don't like it, just, comment below. But I love chicken shawarma. And so that's what I'm going to be making today. I did have a few recipes that I've written down in, low carb and, in my search and my hunt, looking at a lot of different recipes, and decided I want to finally try it because it's a nice day outside. It's not too bad. It's not too hot, and I'm going to put it on the grill. But first, I'm going to get these seasonings going for the chicken. Okay. Just a word to the wise, please like, share, subscribe. Always make sure you give the videos a thumbs up. Why? Because this is the only way that you can help out and support the channel without supporting the channel financially. You know what I'm saying? So it's free to do. It takes a few seconds. Just give it a thumbs up, and that way this video will be circulated to others who have the same or similar interests or are looking for a different way of cooking. All right, so do me a favor. Don't just click off the video once you watch it. Hit the thumbs up button. In fact, you can hit the thumbs up button now. And if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe again to support the channel. Those of you who are already supporting, who do it without even being asked, or who do it after you're asked, thank you. I appreciate you guys. You guys rock. All right, so let's go ahead and get it. I'm going to put all of the seasonings in this bowl really quickly and then transfer it, just so you could see, how many seasonings there are, because there are quite a bit of them. So we're going to start off with 1 tablespoon of ground cumin. So we do have our ground cumin here. So we're going to start off with 1 tablespoon of that, because we're using like 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds of chicken. So I'm actually going to put a little bit less than a full tablespoon. I don't want it too overly spicy, so I'm just going to go err on the side of caution and go with that. So that's the cumin. Next, we're doing the ground coriander, and it's calling for 1 tablespoon of that as well, but we're going to, like I said, just go with a little bit less so the seasonings won't be overbearing. It won't be too much. So I'm just going with a little bit less than 1 tablespoon of that. And then it does call for half a teaspoon, of pepper. But then, it does also call for some cayenne pepper. So we're going to go with the ground pepper, and we're going to limit the cayenne pepper. So half a teaspoon of ground pepper. And then it calls for half a teaspoon of turmeric. So here's our ground turmeric, half a teaspoon of that. I love turmeric. I love Middle Eastern foods and recipes. Do you? How many of you love Middle Eastern food? I absolutely love it. I love, as you heard me say before, I love all things curried. So I love Middle Eastern foods. Okay, so that's that. Now, it does not call for onion powder. One of the recipes I saw, it said to, bake it and put the onion there, but we're not doing that. So I'm just going to put a half a teaspoon of onion powder. I'm just making it my own. And I do have garlic, chopped garlic, but I love garlic, so I'm just going to put a little extra garlic in it as well. That's a half a teaspoon of that. And then it does call for a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. Oh my goodness, you like cinnamon? But it's certain flavors, certain spices that bring flavors out that you wouldn't even think. I know I've made some chili. You may have seen that before, where I do use cinnamon. So yeah, it calls for, I do not have my other set of measuring cups, but measuring spoons. So it calls for a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, So this is a half a teaspoon measurement, but of course half of that is a quarter teaspoon. So I'm going to put that in there. That's put in there, by the way. So we're done with all that. Now it does call for 2 teaspoons of salt, but I'm just going to put a half a teaspoon of salt. Well, there you go. I'm just going to put half a teaspoon of salt along with that little bit that spilled in there instead of a quarter teaspoon. And now it does say, you know, for the cayenne pepper, and then it also, another one says for crushed red pepper for the sauce. So I'm going to put just a little bit of heat, just a tiny bit. Now it says in the, you know, the cayenne pepper, it says for a quarter teaspoon. So I'm really putting that much, just that much, because I don't like a lot of heat. So it's just basically a dash, okay? And now also I do see another recipe. In another recipe, it asks for cardamom, but I don't have any cardamom. And it did say also for some smoked paprika. And it did say for 2 teaspoons. But I'm not, since I have all of the heat, the black pepper and all of that stuff, you know, smoked paprika is not really hot. So I'm just going to put like a half of a teaspoon of smoked paprika, you know, just for the taste, the hint of it. So these, I'm not going to use the crushed red pepper. I may come back and use that in my sauce. So that's all that's going to be for the dry spices. Okay. And so now I'm going to go ahead and get the wet ingredients. Now I'm going to go ahead and get the wet ingredients, and then I'm going to chop up the actual, and then I'm going to chop up the, what is this? Garlic. Oh my goodness, I don't know why I couldn't get that out. So I'm going to chop up the garlic and I'll be right back. But I just wanted to show you the different spices that are in here. Okay, so now let's move over to the next thing. And in this, we're going to put our wet ingredients in, as well as we're going to chop up our garlic. So now it does call for the yogurt sauce, it does call for half a cup of Greek yogurt. So this is 5.3 ounces. So this is just plain Greek yogurt, by the way. 5.3 ounces, half a cup is 4. So we're going to use the majority of this. And we're going to add that in there. We'll leave just a little bit. You know, that's about half of that. So, you know, that's about an ounce left of Greek yogurt. So we'll leave that for another recipe. I'm always eating. I just eat plain Greek yogurt, you know, a flavored Greek yogurt myself. So we'll leave it at that. I'll eat that as a snack with some nuts or some berries or something like that. Now also it's calling for half of lemon juice, or actually for the chicken, it's calling for the juice of 1 lemon. So we're going to use that. Actually, I'm going to take some of this out because what I'm doing is preparing, well, for the yogurt sauce, what I'm going to do is go ahead and prepare that. Like I said, it does call for, and then for your yogurt sauce, so that's what I'm going to use for the yogurt sauce, is half a cup of the Greek yogurt, the plain Greek yogurt. And then it does call for half a cup of lemon juice. So I'm going to measure that out. When I say half a cup, it does call, and then as far as the lemon juice, it does call for half of lemon juice, the juice of 1/2 of a lemon, I should say. So the juice of 1/2 lemon, juice of 1 lemon usually is around about 2 or 3 tablespoons. So let's pour that back in. And it does call for the juice of 1/2 lemon, which is usually around, as I understand it, it's about 2 tablespoons is the juice of 1 lemon. So 1 tablespoon is the juice of half a lemon. So that's what we're going to put 1 tablespoon in, a full tablespoon. And then it does also call for some EVO oil, so extra virgin olive oil. and it calls for 1 tablespoon of that. So this is what we're going to add. And then it also calls for 2 cloves of minced garlic. Salt and pepper. Here's where a pinch of the red crushed pepper comes in at. So we're going to go ahead and do that pinch of red crushed pepper. That's my pinch. That's all I need. I don't need too much heat. Some people might say, oh, that's still a lot. But, you know, that's all I need in terms of that. So we're going to go ahead and chop up this clove of garlic. Well, 2 cloves of minced garlic. And it does call for pepper, but I'm not going to put any pepper in it. It does call for salt, but I'm not going to put any salt in it because I put salt in the chicken marinade. So I don't, you guys know I don't like to use a whole bunch of salt. So we'll get that aside. And then we'll get working on our cloves of garlic. Meanwhile, like I said, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I really appreciate all of you guys' support and supporting the channel. You guys really mean a lot. Thank you so much for watching all of the videos and for sharing and for commenting. And I love it when you guys comment where you're from. I always say that because it's so interesting. You know, YouTube, you know, this is the World Wide Web. And so I do have people watching me from across the pond. You know, so I appreciate you guys so much for watching. So now with the chicken marinade, it does call for 3 cloves of garlic and then, you know, 2 cloves of minced garlic for the actual yogurt sauce. So that's why I have all of these cloves. So let's go ahead and get the 2 cloves and the 3 cloves all minced up and cut. You guys don't need to see me. You guys don't need to see me do this because you see me do this millions of times. If not, I'll do one for the people who have never watched me before, who don't know how to, you know, mince garlic or, you know, but you've seen so many cooking shows. I'm sure you guys do know how to, you know, chop and mince garlic. But just for the video's sake and not assuming, you know, that everyone knows, I'm just going to do this one. All right. And boy, I really crushed that one, didn't I, guys? Sometimes I, you know, crush it really good and sometimes I don't. You know, sometimes you feel like a nut and sometimes you don't. So let's go ahead and just do this and then I'll come back and, you know, do the rest off camera. And then I'll come back and then do the magic of YouTube. It'll already be minced. So we're just going to go ahead and do these 2, and these 2 again are going to be for the actual sauce. Now it's either going to be like a dipping sauce or, you know, I may put it on some pita bread or, you know, I might, you know, just do some salad with the leftovers. Shawarma is like one of my favorite Middle Eastern dishes. I have quite a few of them, and I'm going to be trying some other Middle Eastern recipes that I like, that I've tried before, that I miss and that I love. You know, being a New Yorker, that's the one thing I love about growing up in New York City. And that is that there's so many different people from all walks of life, all different types of cultures and languages. And, you know, the other parts of the United States and the world in general are becoming, you know, what we call a melting pot, or, you know, we call it a salad bowl as well, because, you know, we're all mixed together. But I love having that experience because it just made me a well-rounded person. It made me respect everyone's culture and everyone's just, you know, way of life, way of thinking, whether I agree with it or not. All the different languages and dialects and clothings and styles. It's just amazing. So I'm so happy to have grown up to, you know, where I grew up at. So yeah, that's why I like seeing, you know, where everyone comes from. So I'm just going to put this minced garlic in, and I'm just going to mix that up. And then when I come back, I'm going to, you know, mix the actual everything in the actual bowl. So let's go ahead and get that done. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to reverse it because I was doing too much talking. And really, this is the seasoning for the actual chicken. So I did it in reverse. So just with everything that I don't want to record the whole thing over again. And so I'm going to put this extra because this is the actual seasoning for the chicken. Okay, so I'm going to put this 3rd clove of garlic, and then I'm going to save these 2 for the actual sauce. All right, so act like you didn't hear or see any of that. And that's what I get for talking and not concentrating. Sometimes that happens. What can I say? Like I said, there are bloopers all over everywhere. Bloopers, bloopers, and more bloopers. But that's okay. I am not editing that out. I'm just going to add this extra clove of garlic because this is for the chicken. And then we're going to get all of that marinated in with the chicken. And I'm using the chicken breast, as a matter of fact. All right, so here's what I did. I transferred the sauce for the dipping sauce, the Greek yogurt sauce, into a smaller bowl. And I'm just going to mix all those ingredients together. And then we're going to let that sit aside and get those cloves of garlic all marinated and married in there. And it does have those few flakes of crushed red pepper for just a little bit of heat. And it also does call for some more cumin. So I'm just going to put just a teaspoon of cumin into this so that the sauce will have some cumin flavor as well. So we're just going to put 1 teaspoon, or just a little bit less than that, of cumin. Again, I don't want to overpower, because sometimes these flavorings can be just a little bit overbearing, right? So we are going to omit the pepper, like I said, and we're going to omit the salt because that's going to be in the chicken. So there you have it. That is the actual sauce for the chicken, or pita bread, or salad. If I should choose, one day have it on a pita, the next day have it on a salad, or the next day just, have it plain with maybe some cucumbers. So there you have it. That's the sauce. And now we're going to work on our chicken. All right, so I'm going to get the rest of this chopped up, the minced garlic, and then I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients, and I'll be back. And I'm back, so I'm just going to get the garlic into the bowl here. We'll clean up our board just a little, and our countertop. Clean as you go. You know that saying, clean as you go. But all right, so we have our garlic cloves, everything all chopped up and minced in there, and we're going to add the rest of our ingredients. And here's where I'm going to add the rest of even the 1 ounce of the Greek yogurt. I'm just going to add the rest of that as well. Instead of saving it for a snack, I decided to go ahead and use that for the marinade as well, because some recipes it does say to use that for the chicken as well as for the sauce. So that's what we're going to do, or that's what I'm going to do with the remainder of my Greek yogurt. I love Greek yogurt, so I don't mind it at all. All right, and so it also calls for the juice of 1 lemon, which I said is around about 2 tablespoons. So we're going to go ahead and put the juice of 1 lemon. I do have fresh lemon, of course. You would prefer to have fresh rather than this, but I'm using up what I have. I alternate whichever. I don't know. It depends on how I'm feeling. I don't know. So today, I guess I'm feeling like lemon juice that's already made. But so we're going to use that. We've got our 3 cloves of minced garlic. It does call for the rest of the ingredients that you saw me have. So at this time, what I'm going to do is now it's time to add all of those spices that you guys saw me measure out. So let's go ahead and add that into it and mix it around, even though we're going to mix it. Some people mix it and then they add it, and some people just dump it all in and add it. I don't know what the proper way to do it is, but you know what? As long as it gets mixed up, that's the main thing, and combined really well. That's the main thing. So that's what we're going to do. Mix all of these seasonings. And you guys already know that this smells really good. Can you imagine all of these seasonings and what they smell like combined? You've got the minced garlic. I added some onion powder. And, you know, I added even a little bit more garlic powder, the black pepper, the cumin, the coriander, the turmeric, the cinnamon, just a little bit of the cayenne pepper. Oh my goodness. And if I had cardamom, I would add cardamom to it as well. And, you know, all of this smells good. And once it marinates, you get the chicken. I'm using boneless, skinless chicken breasts because that's what I have. I, you know, previously used up all of my chicken thighs. I made some curry chicken. Some of you may have seen that in a what I eat video that I had already prepared. But yeah, so I am using the chicken breast. And so see, that's what that looks like. And it's all mixed up. Now those are bits of the minced garlic. And you know, Greek yogurt can be really thick sometimes, so you may even have a few little particles of the Greek yogurt, but what you see here is basically the garlic in it. All right, so we're going to get that onto our chicken. Now I've already washed and seasoned this chicken, so I seasoned it with a little bit of parsley and a little bit of garlic. I didn't put the chicken seasoning that I usually use, and so I didn't want to take away from it too much, and I even put just a little bit of Italian seasoning, but mainly you see parsley flakes in here, and that smells great. So we're just gonna go ahead and add this seasoning to it, and we'll get that all mixed up, and then we'll let it marinate. Now, how long should you marinate it for? Well, you know, you can marinate it overnight. You can marinate it at least 2 hours, but you know, 12 hours to 24 hours is always best, because you guys know, like from even when you cook your regular foods, your other foods, other than, you know, just your regular everyday foods that you cook, you know, the next day it tastes even better. Why? Because the seasonings have really set in, and it just gives off a flavor that you didn't taste the first day. And so I may let this sit overnight, but then let's see, I may let this sit overnight, or at least for 12 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to get this mixed up. So with the gloved hand, you know, go ahead and get this all mixed up and seasoned in the seasonings, and we're going to let this marinate. I'm telling you, I've made this before. This is not my first time making it, it's just my first time filming it. This is going to be so good. So once again, if you're liking what you're seeing, just go ahead and hit the like button. And you know, you guys try this recipe, and if you try it, let me know. In fact, follow me on Instagram, Brooklyn Stace 2. That's the number 2. Anything that you've tried that you've from watching up my video, go ahead and tag me on it. I want to see. I want to actually maybe even put you on my Instagram page, and I'll share it for sure. You know, go ahead and tag me and say, hey, go ahead and tag me. Go ahead and tag me on it, guys, and let me know how you like the recipe, what you added or subtracted, or you know, how you made it your own. I'd love to know that, and I'll share it, and I'll give you a shout out. So look at that. Look at the seasonings on this, guys. This is going to be delicious. So we're going to go ahead and get that glove off, and we're going to cover this and let this chicken marinate, and it's going to taste good. This is going to be good. So we'll let this marinate, and we'll come back in about 12 hours, and we're going to get this on the grill. All right, guys, so we're back, and pretty much I had this chicken just sitting and marinating in the fridge. I did it for about 12 hours, and this is what it does look like. So we're going to go ahead and get this on our grill. That's the next step. It smells great, and so that yogurt and all the spices have just marinated in it really well. I can't wait to see how this tastes, and I can't wait to see how this tastes and smells and cooks up on the grill. So let's go out to the grill. All right, everybody, so I am outside, and our grill is heated up. It's already ready to go. So we're going to get the chicken on the grill. Let's get it. So here's our chicken. It has been marinating, like I said, for about 12 hours. So this is our boneless chicken breast. I've already put oil on the grill so that it won't stick. So let's just get this laid out real quick. did turn it down because I didn't want it up too high, but I may turn it up a little bit. We'll see. Put our 2 little pieces. We want everybody to be happy. Let's straighten this one out. There we are. And I love this grill. I'm actually going to turn this flame up a little bit. There we are. So I'm going to cover it and let it do its thing, and then we'll come back and check it. All right, it's smoking pretty good. Let's check it and see what it's doing. It's definitely cooking up pretty good. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, that one we put on a little bit later. So let's check this one. No, we'll let it cook some more. Let's flip that one back over. We can turn these little babies over. It doesn't take that long for chicken breast to cook, which is why, and see it's breaking up and everything, these little small pieces, but I guess that's why a lot of people like chicken thighs, because chicken thighs are juicier and, you know, take a little longer to cook and don't tear up as much. They're sturdier because they have the bone in. These are boneless. All right, but we're going to let that go ahead and do its thing a little bit more, and we'll come back and check on it. All right, let's check it. Turn it over and see what we got. We should have some grill marks, a little more than before. I should have gotten my spatula to turn it over with, or my fork. Actually, what I'm going to do is spritz it with a little bit, even though there's olive oil in here, I'm going to spritz it with olive oil. And I did brush a little bit of olive oil on the grill before I put it on there, but it was just a very little bit. So with me spritzing it on this side as I'm turning it over, it should be really good. That's got some good grill marks on it, doesn't it? And yes, you can tell that I'm outside, right? Oh, I love this grill because it's infrared, so it's not like your typical grill where the heat is not evenly distributed. I said that all wrong. Only when I'm filming. All the noise, right? All the noise. Somebody's backing up their vehicle. Quiet until I started the video. Once you press record, here comes the planes, trains, automobiles, and everything. So just excuse the background noise. So that's doing its thing. That's looking really good. And I'm going to actually spritz it on this side. He's wanting to back up again. I thought he was done. And so I'm going to close it up and we'll be back. All right, y'all, so I am back and this chicken is ready to come off the grill. I've already turned it off. And so let's see what it looks like. We got some really good grill marks. You see that? Look at that. Doesn't that look good? Let me see if I can get a close-up for you guys. That looks great, doesn't it? OMG. So yeah, so let's go ahead and get this taken off, and then we're going to go back inside, and then we're going to finish up, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with this chicken. So see, we've got those good grill marks. And this smells great. Oh my goodness, the seasoning smells great. I tell you, I love Middle Eastern food. You guys love Middle Eastern food? Drop it in the chat if you love Middle Eastern food just about as much as I do. You know why? Because the seasonings are so rich. I want to get every little bit, every little crumble and morsel, every little strip I want to get. The next time I do this, I think I'm probably going to do some chicken thighs though. Only because it's juicier. So there you have it, guys. Take a look at that. Doesn't that look good? That looks delicious, doesn't that? Look at that with those grill marks. The smell is great. It's nice and juicy. And let's go inside and see what we're going to do. Let's go inside and go to the next step. All right, guys, so I'm back and I just came back inside with the chicken off the grill. And so what we're going to do is assemble this. Now, usually, you know, you can get for shawarma, you can do a salad. I was going to do a salad, but I had a salad earlier, so I don't want another salad. So I want to do a wrap. You can usually get a pita, but you know, me with the vertical sleeve gastrectomy, the weight loss surgery, the VSG, you guys know my life. So I'm doing half of a spinach wrap. It's a low carb spinach wrap. You've seen me use these before. And I'm just going to do a wrap. And remember earlier when I did the, and by the way, do you guys like these covers for these bowls? You can put them on a glass, you can put them on a cup. They come in different sizes. I got them from Temu, so you can go and look at my Temu hauls. But nevertheless, remember when I marinated the chicken, I also made this sauce with the yogurt and some cumin and some garlic. So now it has marinated and it smells absolutely divine. And so we're going to use this to either you can do it more than one way. Some may want to just put it on the wrap. If you had a pita, you can just take and, stuff the pita with the lettuce and the tomatoes and the onions. Usually I use red onions, but I have the white onion that I want to use up. So you would stuff the onion in and the chicken, and then you would drizzle the sauce over it. So you could do it that way. So what I'm going to do, since I don't have a pita, I'm just going to just take a little bit of the sauce and put it on the bread. Well, that was a slip. I haven't had bread in so long. I'm going to put it on the half of the spinach tortilla wrap. And then I'm going to take the chicken. And I'm actually going to just break the chicken up. So, normally I would cut it, but I mean, and so I'm just going to cut up the chicken. And, just cut it up into little chunks as if I would, have had it in a pita. And I'm going to put some slices of the portions of the romaine leaves of the romaine lettuce, I should say, not slices. And then I'm going to actually put the chicken and then the onion. Let me cut that up a little bit more. And, you could strategically put it on there, make it look pretty for the camera, for the video. Well, as pretty as you can. This is live. When I say live, this is not going to be edited. So I'm going to put it on as it is. And then I'm going to fold it over anyway. So I don't want to have all of it on one side, only to fold it over. So next up, I'm going to put some slices. Now I sliced this grape tomato. I guess I didn't slice it all the way down, huh? There we are. So I'm just going to put some tomatoes on there strategically. I'm a home chef. I'm not a trained chef, so it is what it is when it comes to that. So I'm only going to put actually I'm going to go ahead and put 3 slices on, because these are smaller tomatoes, so it's not like it's a huge slice. And then I'm going to put the onion, and I'm just going to put it on there. I love onion. Do you love onions as much as I do? Oh my goodness, onions it just give things such a great flavor. So what I'm going to do is just slice that in half and just put it on there. And then I'm actually going to drizzle some more of just dollop the yogurt sauce on it, and just randomly put that on here. And this chicken shawarma is going to be so good, guys. So that's all that I'm going to put on there. You can put more, but you know, I like I said, you know, to each his own. You do it to your taste. And that's what I'm going to do. Now, if I was smart, I would have transferred it onto my plate first, right? But that's why they make spatulas. Hold, please. There we are. So I transferred it on to the plate, and there you have it. So, you know, if I wanted a little bit more chicken, which I may just put extra chicken on. So if I wanted to put a little bit more chicken on it, I certainly could. But, you know, I don't know how full I'm going to get, so I just stopped at that one. So just for presentation, I'm just going to add some more chicken so this doesn't look so bare. And I am so hungry. I didn't eat much, guys. What I ate in a day was the protein coffee, and then I had some yogurt and some mixed nuts. So I do need the extra protein. And so just to show you what the chicken shawarma looks like, that's what it looks like with the seasonings. You see the nice close-up. And then you do see the extra chicken shawarma over there with the onions and the lettuce and the tomatoes and that great yogurt sauce. Okay, guys, so like, share, and subscribe. This is a healthy way of eating. It's a way of eating for me. It's so easy to make, and it's different. So check my playlist. Check my playlist to get all of my other videos, whether that's the VSG or some of my recipes. Just check and watch whether you want to do the hauls. And by the way, I'm coming back with more hauls because I know you guys like to do hauls, but I'm going to be doing an update video because it's 1 year post my vertical sleeve gastrectomy surgery. And I want to give you guys an update and give you guys a chance to ask questions and get some answers as well. But continue to make a comment, like, share, subscribe, comment. And as always, thank you so much for watching, guys. Take care and be well. Bye-bye.
Hit that like, hit that sub, let's go. Real talk, real life, no cap, all facts with knowledge and heart, and nothing held back.